Let us go with the graph traversal techniques. There are two graph traversal. Traversal means we have discussed that the traversing means you have to visit all the nodes only once. Right. What is a traversal? A traversal is nothing but an algorithm for systematically exploring a graph. That means you have to visit all vertices. This is very important. You have to visit all vertices until you find a goal vertex. Where, for example, if you are searching for a vertex, you have to traverse the graph. For that, you have to visit all the vertices until you find that vertex or until no more vertices are there. This is nothing but traversing. Right. And we have two types of graph traversal techniques. One is the depth first search traversal, which we call in short form as DFS, depth first search. It is an acronym. Right. It is also called as pre-order traversal in pre-order tree traversal. Right. Similarly, the other graph traversal technique is breadth first search technique. In short form, we call it as BFS. And it is called as level order tree traversal. This particular point is very important, which you may be asked a question like, what is the other name for the BFS? Or if in a given tree or if in a given graph, if all the vertices are traversed in a BFS manner, what can it be called in with other name? And other name, that can be a question you might be asked. Therefore, the other name for breadth first search is level order tree traversal. Right. Coming to the first one, which is breadth first search, which is a breadth first search. So it is one of the simplest algorithm we have. It's very simple algorithm. We have to make use of a data structure called queue. Very important one, very important point. So the data structure that is used to implement the breadth first search of a graph is nothing but queue. Similarly, for depth first search also we have one more data structure. To implement the depth first search, we make use of stack. Therefore, you can simply remember it as BQ and DS. D stands for DFS and S stands for stack. So this is our subject, right? Data structures. And right, B stands for BFS and Q stands for Q, right? So if you remember this one particular thing, that the data structure that is used for finding the depth first search of a given graph is stack, then the other one is very easy to remember, that the other data structure to make use or to find the breadth first search is Q, right? So it is one of the simplest algorithms, and it is also one of the most important, and it forms the basis of many graph algorithms. Let me go through the application part of this BFS. You might be having some doubts that what are these applications of breadth first search traversal, why we need to go for this breadth first search traversal. As I discussed in the day one, while discussing the differences between the linear data structures and non-linear data structures, the graphs are very useful data structure in real life situations also. For example, if you want to represent a communication network, then that can be represented with a graph. For example, all the nodes or all the computers will be treated as nodes, and if there is a connection between those computers, you mark it as an edge. So for communication networks, the graph is a very useful concept where you can represent those communication networks using a graph. Similarly, if you take a Facebook account, you have your friends, and those friends will be having those another set of friends. So all these things can be represented. That means a particular customer or a Facebook account holder is taken as a node, and if you have a friend, then you will establish an edge. Therefore, a Facebook account or social networking websites, they make use of the concepts of this graphs, right? Similarly, you will be getting some suggestions like friend suggestions. You will be getting suggestions from friend suggestions in the Facebook account. All these things makes use of these concepts of graphs, right? So, and there are many examples, there are many real life examples of these graphs, and some of the applications why we need to traversal this we know, right? Traversal means you are searching for a particular node, or you are you want to process that graph, then you have to go for the concept of traversing. You start from the one vertex and you have to visit all the vertices, that is called as traversal. So for everything this traversal is very important, and we have a lot of applications on this breadth first search traversal. The first one is to find the shortest path and minimum spanning tree for an unweighted graph, right? This is for weighted graph, right? Or for unweighted graph. So you can find the shortest path between two vertices, or you can find the minimum spanning tree of a given graph. And similarly, peer-to-peer networks. Peer-to-peer networks, an example where you can find this peer-to-peer networks is MuTorrents. You might be very familiar about these torrent websites where you will download a lot of movies and multimedia content, and you can observe that when you use these torrents, the download speed is very much faster when compared to that of downloading it from a single website. So in this concept of peer-to-peer networks, what they will do is they will find the peers. Peers means which are at the same level, or we can call it as neighbors, right? So they will find neighbors. That means whatever node is having this particular file, all those neighbors will be found, and a part of the file will be downloaded from one customer, and the second part is from second customer, and the third part from another customer. Like that it will continue, and all those downloads will be done in a parallel fashion. That's the reason why we call, or we get maximum download speeds when you are making use of this torrents concept, right? So coming to this peer-to-peer networks, why this breadth first search traversal is used in peer-to-peer networks means in order to find the neighbors, we make use of this peer-to-peer networks. And similarly, crawlers in search engines, you can find out in the website what a crawler is. Most of the search engines, they make use of this crawlers concept, right? For example, if today you have searched for a concept called as data structures, you may get the first website as from abc.com, and if you search for the same concept of data structures, tomorrow you will get some website like xyz.com. So these are nothing but the search engine optimization where you will make use of the concept called crawlers, right? So these crawlers in search engines are making use of this BFS technique only. Similarly, social networking websites, which we have discussed just now, all the social networking websites, they make use of BFS to find the neighbors or to find the friends of friends, which is nothing but friend suggestion concept, right? Similarly, GPS navigation system, they make use of BFS. The broadcasting in a network, broadcasting means one node, if it is connected to 4 different nodes, the same message M is to be transferred from this source to these destinations. These are called as destinations. So D1, D2, D2, D3 or D4 are connected to source. So at a time the message M has to be transferred to all these nodes. In such case, they make use of the concept called as BFS to identify the vertices that are present in the same level. Simple concept, right? Similarly, in garbage collection of Java, it makes use of BFS concept. To find the cycle detection in an undirected graph, whenever you want to find a cycle, cycle means, I told that a cycle is nothing but a path which starts with vertex X and ends with the same vertex. Right. So in order to find the cycle, this particular applications of BFS and DFS is very important. You may be asked some questions like, the breadth first search traversal is useful to, he will give some 4 options, out of which you have to select the correct statements. Like 1 and 2 is only, 2 and 3 only, 1, 2 and 3. Like that you will have these type of questions, right? That's the reason why I have kept this application part and discussing it as a important concept, right? So cycle detection in unrelated graph, and to test whether a graph is bipartite or not, let us not go into the deep into the bipartite path concept, and it is useful for path finding, and it is useful to find all nodes with one connected component. So it is useful to, the BFS technique is used to find whether the nodes are connect, the graphs are have connected components or not. This is very one good application, right? You have one question from the previous gate one. And similarly, Prim's minimum spanning tree makes use of this BFS, and Dijkstra's algorithm shortest single source shortest path also makes use of this BFS. Very important slide. You can put any number of stars for it. Why? Because from the graph's point of view, you will be asked only questions related to, most of the questions related to BFS and DFS. No other concepts are being touched from the graphs concept, right? So you have to make a note of all these applications. BFS is used to find the path. BFS is used to find whether a graph has connected components or not. Prim's algorithm makes use of BFS. Dijkstra's single source shortest path makes use of this BFS, and we have a lot more applications which we have discussed just now, right? Very important slide. Please make a note. And coming to how you find a BFS in a binary tree, right? BFS is nothing but level order traversal. So this is for 3. It's not a graph. Don't get confused. So you start with 5. So after 5, you have to go for this 2 and then 8 breadth. So you traverse in the breadth, level by level, level order traversal, right? So this is second level, and maybe this is second level, level 2, and this is level 1, and this is level 0, right? And this is level 3. So what you will do is, first you traverse level 0, 5 is traversed, and then you start with level 1 and you have to go from the left hand side or right hand side. It's not an issue, right? So 2, 8, level 1 is completed. This is level 1. This is level 0. And after that you go for level 2. Either you go for left hand side or you go from right hand side. Let us go with the convention that 1, 3, 6, 8, 6, 10, that is left to right, L to R. So 1, 3, 6, 8, 6, 10. All these things comes under level 2. And the last level consists of only 2 elements, that is level 3. This is nothing but level order traversal. So if you are given a binary tree and you are asked to find the level order traversal, is very easy. Just go by levels. You first start with the level 0, which is nothing but the root node, and then you go with the level 1, and you can write in any order, left to right or right to left. But if you follow the convention of left to right in one level, that convention should be followed to the other levels also. Not that in level 1 you follow left to right and in level 2 you follow the right to left. So you should have some consistency. That's the reason why you have to maintain that levels, right? Or you have to maintain that order, left to right or right to left, right? So let me not go into the algorithmic part. I will explain this with a simple graph example. This is the graph which we have given, and we are asked to find the BFS. We are asked to find the BFS. So what you have to do is, you have to take a Q. You have to take a Q, right? Let me draw here itself. We have a Q of some random size. So this is the starting vertex. He will give you the starting vertex like A, B, or anywhere you can start. That's the disadvantage of graphs. For example, if it is a tree, you can directly start with the root node. Why? Because the tree definition says that out of all the vertices, you have to designate one particular node as a root node, and you start everything from that root node only. But in graphs, there is no special designation of any node. That's the reason why you have to choose one vertex as a starting vertex, right? In graphs, you don't have any root node. Therefore, you can select one node as your choice, but most of the problems, in most of the questions, he will give a particular node. He will ask you to consider one node as a starting vertex, right? Now we will start the starting vertex. We will start our discussion as the starting vertex. This is the starting vertex, that is A. What you will do is, first initially you have to initialize a queue, empty queue, with some random number of elements. The starting element, the start vertex is enqueued into the queue, right? We'll take the output also BFS. So initially the output is empty, and as the first step, what you will do, you have to enqueue the starting vertex. After that, in the second step onwards, what you have to do is, you have to enqueue the adjacent vertices to A. What are the adjacent vertices to A? That is B and E. Adjacent means they should have the direct edges. So B is having a direct edge from A, and similarly E is having a direct edge from A. Therefore, B and E are adjacent to E. Therefore, you enqueue these two elements. You enqueue these two elements. Now it is front and this is rear, right? What you will do is, in the next step, you dequeue A and put it in output. You dequeue A and output, and then you move to B. Now my front pointer is pointing to B, right? Now what you have to do is the same process. You have to enqueue the adjacent elements of B, and then you push the, or you dequeue B and place it in the output, right? So what are the adjacent vertices to B? Adjacent vertices to B, this is G and C, right? So one point you have to remember here is clearly that if you take an empty queue like this, and the first element that is inserted into queue is A, I am saying that you have to enqueue the adjacent elements of A into the queue, and then you perform the dequeue operation and output operation, right? This is the common to every BFS, right? What you have to do, you have to enqueue the adjacent elements, dequeue the queue, and output, right? Only three steps. What are those three steps? Enqueue, dequeue, and the third step is, after dequeuing, you have to output that dequeue element. Right. So while enqueuing the adjacent elements of A, there are two adjacent elements to A, that is B and E. You can insert or you can enqueue these elements in any order. For example, in this particular diagram, I have enqueued it as B and E. Somebody will say that I will enqueue it as E and B. There is no wrong in it. You can do it, right? So there are many possibilities of BFS. Don't assume that the BFS always consists of only one list of elements or one order, right? It can have any number of orders, right? For example, if he has inputted the adjacent elements as E comma B, then the next dequeue element will be E A comma E. After E, you have to enqueue this D and F. Like that, the order may change, right? So don't worry about it. You have to find the correct order. This is one of the important and very somewhat complex in nature. Somewhat complex to find this BFS and EFS. Correct order is very complex, right? So now coming to our discussion, this is also possible. It's not a wrong thing to do, and it is also possible. And let me continue with this discussion, right? Now we have the front part as E. What I am saying, the first step is enqueue the adjacent elements of B. What are the adjacent elements of B? It is G and C. Maximum, my convention is left to right only, and it is alphabetical in nature. That is, I follow the lexicographical order. Lexicographical order means dictionary order. Therefore, whichever I follow the elements like A, B, C, D, E only. Right? For example, if I have G and C, what I will do? If I follow the lexicographical order, I will have to NQ this C first. Why? Because C comes first before G in the alphabetical order. Right? So you NQ this C and G adjacent elements like this, and first step is completed. The second step is DQ. Therefore, you remove this B, and the third step is output. Now my friend pointer is pointing this to now the rear pointer is R and the front pointer is pointing to this one. Again, continue the steps. The steps are nothing but NQ of E. What are the NQ of adjacent elements of E? The adjacent elements of E are D and F. So you follow the lexicographical order, therefore D comma F. Now my rear pointer is pointing to F. And now the second operation is DQ. DQ of E and output. Right. So the front pointer moves to this location, that is C. Same thing, repeat these three steps. NQ the adjacent elements of C. The adjacent elements of C are B and E. Now B and F, but B is already visited, right? This is visited and this is visited. Whenever you put it in Q, then you say it as visited, right? This is also visited. So there are no elements to visit. Why? Because every elements, whenever you put some element into the queue, you make it as you mark it as the visited vertex. So A is visited, B is visited, and E, C, G, D, F, everything is visited. So the adjacent vertices to C are B and F, but you have to NQ only the unvisited vertices. There are no unvisited vertices. That is, B is already present and it is outputted. And similarly, F is already present in the queue. Therefore, no unvisited vertices to process. So what you will do? You have to go for the second and third step. DQ and output. Now my friend pointer is here. Now go for G. You find the adjacent vertices of G. We have only one adjacent vertex, that is B, which is already processed. This is processed, right? Therefore, nothing to NQ. So the first step is not there. You go for the second and third step, that is DQ and output. So now my friend pointer is pointing to D. You go for D and you check the adjacent vertices to D. Those are E and F. E and F are already processed, are already present inside the queue. Therefore, nothing to NQ. Therefore, you go for step 2 and 3, which is nothing but DQ and output. Again, my friend point is pointing here. Front is equal to F. Go to F. The adjacent vertices to F are C, D and E, which are already visited. Therefore, nothing to do with the NQ operation. You go for the second step and third step, that is DQ and output. So the one of the sequence of BFS can be A, B, E, C, G, D, F. Right. So this level is completed A, and after that you gone through this level. There are no levels concept in graphs, right? But if you assume that this is one level, B is traversed, and then C, G, D, F, all these things is traversed, right? This is how we perform the BFS operation, and you should be in a position, you have to practice a lot of examples on this BFS to get familiarized with these things. And so this is how we perform the BFS operation. A, B, E, C, G, D, F, right? And this is the complexity of BFS. One important concept, that is features of BFS is complexity, big O of V plus E. Vertex is V is vertex set and E is edge set, right? So all vertices, nothing is there, and BFS finds the shortest path from S to each vertex. This is very important.